Hey everybody, Gavin here. Hope everyone's having a great day. So today I'm going to teach you how to supercharge your VAPI knowledge base. Okay. So the thing about VAPI's knowledge base system is it's a little bare bones, right? And when you start building more complex voice AI solutions, and say you have maybe it's for e-commerce, right? And you have a lot of product information that you need to pull from, or maybe you're dealing with a law firm and you have hundreds, if not thousands, of case files to analyze and sift through. Then the out-of-the-box VAPI knowledge-based platform is not going to cut it. Okay. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to, why a well-structured AI knowledge base is really important to building a high-performing agent and voice assistant. I'm going to teach you how poor knowledge bases lead to inaccurate and costly AI responses, and the exact steps that you can use to create and optimize a high-performing AI knowledge base using platforms outside of VAPI. Okay, and of course, I'm going to teach you some tools and techniques that will save you some time and money while boosting the accuracy of your AI voice assistant. So let's get started. So real quick, first I want to start with why you should even care about your AI's knowledge base. Okay. A lot of people think you can just, throw a few PDFs in there and you're good to go. But there's really a lot you can do to optimize your knowledge bases so your voice assistant or agent really performs, at peak performance. So, and I want to preface this by saying that for most basic use cases for voice assistants and, smaller businesses that aren't really making a ton of calls, or the post-call automations are not super complex or things like this, you might not even need a knowledge base, right? A lot can be done just within the system prompt on VAPI, okay? And if you can do that, I recommend that, because that lowers the complexity a lot. If you can get everything in the main prompt, all right? This is for things that, something perhaps like an HVAC company, right? That just takes inbound calls, that doesn't really have a lot of service information or product information that needs to be uploaded for the voice assistant to have on file, right? There's use cases for not having a knowledge base and having one, okay? For this video, I'm going to be referencing mainly ones where things get a little more complex and you need some more robust platforms to handle the reference files, okay, in the knowledge base. All right, so you really want to kind of think of the knowledge base as the base of everything, right? When you start building these more complex solutions. Then it comes the system prompt, which really acts as sort of the brain for everything, which is powered by the LLM. And then, of course, you have your functions and tools that are built on that the system prompt would call. And of course, then comes the different voices you can have and latency, things that aren't quite as important as, nailing these things, right? It's just the icing on the cake, so to speak. And, getting all this right, it serves as the foundation. It saves time and money, right? Really optimizing your prompt and your knowledge base. It saves money in the long term, right? Especially if you're making hundreds, thousands of calls, doing cold outreach, it adds up. And of course, it enhances user experience, right? So there's a few hidden challenges of building a knowledge base, okay? When you have poorly structured your data within the knowledge base, and this could go even in terms of, a simple PDF with information in Markdown, right? If it's poorly structured, the AI is not going to retrieve it as well, or might not retrieve it at all when in the few milliseconds of latency it takes to answer an important question, right? It might give non-relevant information, or it could just start repeating the customer's question, which I've seen happen a lot. Obviously, this frustrates users and undermines trust in the system, right? And the key is to build trust, because when the AI is answering all the questions promptly, quickly and accurately, the users become impressed by that, and they begin to trust AI, and they're not going to want to request the handoff to a human, right? Which is, we don't want as many of those with our voice assistants. And, also one thing to consider is, like I said before, VAPI, it offers limited customization when it comes to these voice agents. Sometimes with more complex agents, you're going to want to build something that requires more than just maybe a PDF or a plain text text documents, right? So, especially in cases of for instance, e-commerce, right? This really limits what you can do. And of course, cost inefficiencies. Unoptimized knowledge bases lead to unnecessary data processing and higher compute costs, right? It goes a long way with lowering the cost of retrieving this and, having the LLM go and analyze this stuff. If it's structured properly, it goes a long way. And if you want me to make a full video on how to structure your PDFs and plain text files within VAPI alone, drop a comment in the video, because I'll do a video on that, because most of the time, most cases, you're going to want to keep, like I said before, keep things down to the system prompt or within the knowledge base in VAPI, and that's totally fine in most cases. So some examples of having to build a knowledge base on a platform outside of VAPI. This would include, complex customer service agents, right? For maybe something for enterprise or large businesses, something that could provide, very in-depth, accurate answers, and pull from a large, pool of information, something like that. Something that would integrate seamlessly with CRM, ticketing, specialized systems to offer holistic support, right? So not only would this be referencing a large knowledge base, but it'd be working with a CRM using multiple on and post-call automations, right? And obviously in, real more high-speed industries like finance, tech, logistics, where complexity is really standard, then, these kind of systems are going to be necessary. 24/7 intelligent support, consistent accuracy, ensuring customer satisfaction even during peak times, and scale effortlessly as your business grows and interactions become more intricate, right? That's a big one. It's being able to scale really without falter, right? That's key. For medium businesses or large businesses, enterprise businesses, you're going to want something that is easy to update and scale. Another example is knowledge management with law firms, right? And this goes for conversational text-based agents as well. When you are creating these sorts of agents, there's a lot of documents that get filed away. They get referenced, cross-referenced, right? When you're doing research for these cases, right? You want to be very thorough, and typically, in the past, it would take a long time to look up all this information, compare past cases. Now with AI, you can really reference these in seconds and have the AI find similar documents, similar cases in the past, and it really makes things a whole lot easier, right? And with a more advanced knowledge base, it would much quicker and easier to allow the AI to cross-reference and connect related documents, improving case handling efficiency, right? Quickly retrieve relevant case law, legal precedents, and documents from vast repositories with AI-powered precision. So, and this would just, reduce all the time spent sifting through information, enabling lawyers to focus more on strategy, going into court, and crafting their plan of attack, really, which is what the most important lever movers are within the legal industry. So how would you go about building one of these advanced knowledge bases with a platform with no code? So the two main platforms we're going to focus on today is Voiceflow and VectorShift. All right. So a step above VAPI would be Voiceflow. Okay, and most people know Voiceflow as the more advanced conversational chatbot AI building platform, and it is that, but a lot of people don't know that you can actually link the knowledge bases that you build within a Voiceflow and link them to a VAPI assistant for that VAPI assistant to reference using the API. And what you can do within the Voiceflow platform on your with your knowledge bases, with the files you upload, you can do what is called chunking. Okay, so chunking essentially allows users to upload large amounts of information to its knowledge base, and what the chunks do is they're small segmented pieces of a document or data source that AI systems use to efficiently retrieve and process relevant information for generating accurate responses. So essentially what that means is, if you take a look at this document I uploaded, there's 29 chunks. So essentially each one of these you see here is a chunk of information, all right? And this particular PDF is not really optimized for the chunks, so it might have sporadic information around here. It's not really, sort of structured in a way to facilitate chunking, but instead of when the LLM is sifting through this information, it's looking for keywords within a user's question, right? And it queries that, and it only queries specific chunks related to those keywords in the question, right? So it's not looking through the entire document each time someone asks a question, which is what saves that computational resources and what saves money. So all the documents that get uploaded to Voiceflow are split into these chunks, and these chunks are often sequential rather than contextually grouped. So you have to do your structuring of you have to consider the structuring of your PDF or your file before you upload it, because it's that's how it gets chunked, right? And occasionally unstructured chunks can lead to irrelevant or incomplete responses. So what you do is you pre-structure documents before uploading to ensure related information is grouped together, right? And then you can play with the settings, right? So of course you have your temperature here, which will control the color and the randomness of the responses, the queries to the knowledge base, your max tokens, of course, but your chunk limit. So the more chunks you have, the more accurate the responses are going to be, right? The more it's broken up, but also it's going to cost more, of course, right? It's going to be more computationally expensive when you increase the chunk limit, because it's a lot more data that it's getting checked. With VectorShift, which is even a step above Voiceflow in terms of managing knowledge bases and creating really granularized control over your voice assistants, or specifically your conversational assistants and chatbots. So VectorShift really allows more granularized control over your chunk size and overlap adjustments, right? Larger chunk sizes and overlapping data between chunks provide more context, improving reasoning, improving response accuracy. And also, one of the cooler things about VectorShift is it supports a wide variety of file types. Okay, it's not just PDFs and your standard text files. It can support CSVs, graphs, and images. Right, so you could upload an entire PDF with images or infographics, and it could read all that. Right, and it also uses hybrid search techniques, so it could combine traditional keyword search with AI-powered chunk-based retrieval for improved accuracy. Okay, so what does that look like here? Here we have an example pipeline flow inside of VectorShift. And I'm not going to go into the weeds here on VectorShift, because there's a lot of different things you can do with this platform, and I can make more videos in the future on this. But specifically, we're going to focus on the knowledge base. So we would go here, create new knowledge base. As you can see, you have really, this granularized control over the size of the chunks, the chunk overlap. And here is a few things you can do. So with the llama parse, that just means what I mentioned before, is this supporting various file types and graphs and images. So with the llama parse, you could use it to read pretty much text on images and whatnot using this processing model. And also what's new, I think, is Textract. This is pretty new, but what I think that is using Amazon's Textract, so you can read scanned documents, whether it's handwriting or anything else like that, right? And of course, this is more expensive. VectorShift also supports advanced querying functions. So what does that mean? So of course, when you're handling thousands of different, customer service inquiries, these questions are going to be all kinds of things, right? Some could be very basic and simple. Some could be, as long as a page, because people have all sorts of problems. You never know what you're going to get when in customer service. So you want your voice assistant or your conversational chatbot to be able to handle all these things, all these questions. So what does this look like in VectorShift? So if someone asks a question, you can use transform query. This attempts to transform queries that are more likely to get better responses. So that means if someone uses confusing language in their questions, right, it could use this to sort of guess at the most plausible, real meaning of this question to get a better response, right, when it's not given much to work with, because some people don't like to give us much to work with sometimes, right? You could also use expand query, which breaks the query into multiple parts for step-by-step reasoning. Okay, so you could think of this as like the 01 model of GPT. If it's a larger question, or one question with multiple parts, it would try to break down and reason for each one and respond in a more accurate way. Using this, expand query function. And also they have the multiple question function, which enhances responses to multiple questions in a single query. Some people ask 2, 3, 4, even 5 different questions in a single query to maybe a customer service agent, right? And this function helps it break these down and answer them one by one. Whereas a traditional, out-of-the-box system might spit out something totally irrelevant, okay? So lastly, I just want to show you how this might work in practice, right? The workflow here. So a user would call in, VAPI would be orchestrating everything, okay? And then you'd be hit with a question. So a simple query, simple question, this could be answered either with just the prompt, okay? Or within VAPI's out-of-the-box knowledge base. In that case, you would get a quick answer. But if it was a more complex question, maybe related to the business or the FAQs, then APIs would be called to the Voiceflow knowledge base or the VectorShift knowledge base linked to this voice assistant, and then the answer would be called back and spit out by the voice assistant. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something from this video. And if you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.